Here's the answer to question 4c. So here's our equation. And we've got a fraction. We've got x's on both sides of the equation. So we need to deal with both of those things. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this fraction. Okay, so on here, for the first part, I'm dividing by x plus 1. And I'm just going to put brackets around that to remind you we're dividing by that whole thing. So in order to get rid of that, I need to multiply every term in this equation by x plus 1. So that means I am going to multiply this first piece by x plus 1. Notice I'm putting in brackets. I'm going to multiply the 7 by x plus 1, and I'm going to multiply that x by x plus 1. Okay, so what that will do is then this x plus 1 and that x plus 1 cancel, and that will leave me with 33 plus 7 times x plus 1 equals x times x plus 1. Now I want to rearrange and solve this equation. So now I want to expand out the brackets. So I'm going to do 7 times the x. So I'm going to leave my 33 first of all. 7 times x gives me 7x, and 7 times 1 gives me 7. Then I'm going to do x times x to give me x squared, and I'm going to do x times 1 to give me plus x. So now I can just simplify again a little bit. So each time I do something, simplify. So on the left-hand side, 33 plus 7, that gives me 40 plus 7x equals x squared plus x. Now in this, I now notice that I've got an x squared term. So what I want to do is I want to get all of the values on the left-hand side, because to solve a quadratic, if I just remind you, ax squared plus bx plus c, I want to set that whole equation equal to 0. Okay, and then I can look at factorising and solving it. So that's what I want to do next. So I'm going to take the x squared to the other side, and I'm going to move the x to the other side as well. So I'm going to leave my 40 plus 7x there. X squared moves across and becomes minus x squared. The plus x becomes minus x, and on the right hand side I'm now left with 0. So now again I want to simplify this. So I'm going to do my minus x squared at the start. I've got a 7x, take away an x, so that's going to give me plus 6x plus 40 equals 0. Now I don't like having a negative in front of the x squared, so in order to get rid of that, if I multiply that by negative 1, then that will, negative times negative makes it into a positive, but then I also need to multiply the other pieces by negative 1 as well. Okay, what I do to 1, I've got to do to them all. So that's going to become x squared, take away 6x, take away 40 equals 0. Okay, now I've got a quadratic. So now I want to be able to solve this quadratic. So I want to try and factorise it. So I want to find two numbers that multiply to negative 40 and add to negative 6. And so that will mean if I do negative 10 times 4, then that gives me my negative 40. And if I do negative 10 plus, not plus 6, plus 4, that's going to give me negative 6, which is what we're looking for. So that means when I factorise this, that's going to give me x take away 10 times x plus 4 equals 0. Now what I need to do is I need to solve this equation. So just as a little side step to remind you, 0 times anything is always going to be 0. So in order for us to get an answer of 0, it means either the first bracket is equal to 0 or the second bracket is equal to 0. So either x minus 10 equals 0 or x plus 4 equals 0. And now I just solve that. So take the negative 10 to the other side, that gives me x equals 10. That's one solution. Or if I do take this 4 to the other side, that gives me x equals negative 4. There is my second solution. So if I was to substitute either of those values back into the original equation, you'll find that the equation works out, and that's how I can check my answers.